Shine kwanan nan da aka kama mutanen da aka ci a sake su a federal government. Na ji dadin sakin su, amma kuma ban ji dadin shi ba. Cajin da aka yi musu treason din bai kamata ba. Laifin da aka je musu bai kamata ba. Amma ya kamata a hukunta su in gaskiya ne a kai su remand home ko rehabilitation center. Don saboda su tabbatar cewa wannan abin ba za su yi nan gaba ba.
Haba Prof, this is too harsh and mean. Professor Zulum is saying that Tinubu shouldn't have released these children they arrested during the End Bad Governance protest in August. They detained them for 3 months and eventually charged them for treason. If it wasn't because of the backlash, they wouldn't have released them. And Prof feels that Tinubu should have continued the trial to send a message to others in the future. No, this is not actually the main problem. Prof is refusing to tackle the main problem, but we'll get back to that in a moment. The children are just a symptom of a problem. The truth is, the government knew they didn't have any case against these children. If they did, they wouldn't have detained them for 3 months. And you can't charge children for treason. Before they can prove treason against anyone, irrespective of the fact that the person is an adult or a minor, they must prove an active participation in the plot to commit a military coup. Yes, they can't prove it with these children. Protest is not a crime. They tried so hard during the End Bad Governance protest to criminalize protest, but according to the laws, that's if they follow the laws anymore, the mere fact that people were waving foreign flags is not a crime under Nigerian law. Yes, you can't try them based on that. Even if you want to try them, you have to prove that the waving of Russian flags or all other conduct during the protest constitute treason or planning of military coup. Another thing lacking in the statement of Professor Zulum is empathy. How can anyone, after seeing these children emaciated, after not being well fed for 3 months, say that they should continue being detained or even tried and jailed for treason? No, where is your empathy? It seems as if Northerners don't care about their children. They don't care enough. When the news broke that these children were in detention, the major voices that were calling out the government at the time came from the South. The Northerners were nowhere to be found. Don't they care about their children? Is everything about politics to them, about acquiring power, but when it matters to care about the actual people you are governing, you don't give a damn. You don't put your 100%. Yes, this is evident going by the way Professor Zulum and other northern leaders have expressed their opposition to the tax reforms of the Tinubu administration. He's been hammering the past few days that the tax reforms will impoverish the North, impoverish Borno State, that they will no longer be able to pay salaries, a lot of things he said. But when it concerns the rights of their children being violated by the federal government, you don't see them talk about it, you don't see them openly oppose the federal government. And instead of keeping mute like they always do, they come out the way Professor Zulum has come out to start condemning the federal government for releasing the children. This is absurd. It seems that northern political leaders actually oppress their citizens more than southerners. One lady is actually facing trial right now in Sokoto State for calling out the governor on social media. So you can see they can't provide good governance and they can't tolerate dissent. Yes, these are tenets of democracy. For democracy to thrive, people have the right to criticize the government. They have the right to hold the government to account. All you need to do is to say what you are doing, answer them, correct their mistakes, or in case of libel, you can sue them to court, in a civil court of course. Not use intimidation to try to cower and shut people up. No, that's not democracy. Nigerians need to wake up wherever they are. Most people in the north supported the introduction of Sharia law in Zamfara state in the early 2000s when the wave started. But up till today, no politically exposed person, no elite in the society have been charged to any Sharia court in Nigeria. No. So the Sharia court is actually meant for the poor, the poorest of the poor. Remember in the early days of Sharia law in Nigeria, one man's hand was actually cut after the judgment of a Sharia court. Was it in Zamfara? But today, many politicians and former governors are roaming freely, despite being from states where Sharia law is in operation, They have never been charged to any Sharia court. So people should wake up. Let no one use religion to bamboozle you. Why should laws apply only to the poor people, while a few of our politicians who have stolen their states blind continue to roam free without consequence? Now, to why protests and the arrest of these children are symptoms of a much bigger problem, not a problem on their own. Remember, before the End Bad Governance protests in August, Nigerians warned the government to at least address some of the issues they raised. But instead of doing that, the government started intimidating Nigerians, warning them not to come out to protest, as if protest is not a right of an individual under a democracy. They did all sorts of things to intimidate Nigerians. They used religious leaders to convince Nigerians not to protest. They did all sorts of things, but at the end of the day, Nigerians still trooped out in their numbers to protest the hunger, the hardship they've brought on Nigerians, many things. So imagine if the government at least addressed one issue, just a single one of the issues Nigerians raised. Address it and tell them, hey, okay, we are a listening government, we are going to reverse this one, we are going to do this so that we reduce the suffering. No. Instead, after the protest went on for a few days, Tinubu said he will address Nigerians, but the address was a disappointment because he never yielded in any single demand made by Nigerians. So the point here is, what made Nigerians to come out to protest in the first place? Hunger. What's the solution? By the government, because they believe that once someone is shouting, I'm hungry, there's hardship, there's suffering, just give the person palliative, give him rice. They forget that rice won't solve all the problems. Are you going to give the person beans? What about maize? What about milk? What about money for school fees for the children? What about transportation fee? What about house rent? Are you going to give all these in palliative to Nigerians? Are we going to talk about insecurity? When are they going to provide palliative for that? Are they going to provide an armed bodyguard to every Nigerian as palliative for insecurity? So you see the issues Professor Zulum missed. These young boys should have been in school if all these problems don't exist. But here we are. They had to come out to protest because their parents and guardians could no longer take care of them. Definitely many of them are not in school because their people cannot afford it. Also, they cannot afford the daily bread. Many people don't know where their next meal will come from. So all this boils down to bad governance. Nigerians are actually among the best in the world to govern. Once you convince them, you tell them something, they agree with you. They are not too violent. And they keep on adjusting to hardship. They keep on being pushed to the wall and they keep drilling holes to enter into the wall instead of turning back and saying, no, enough is enough. You no longer push us this way. We have to resist. We have to fight back. That's why Nigerian politicians can't believe their luck. All their impunities, there's no adequate pushback from Nigerians. Yes, they keep getting away with everything they throw at Nigerians. But upon all that, they are still not satisfied. They keep doing worse. Imagine a governor saying that the federal government should have continued detaining children. This shows that Zulum is even more wicked than the people that arrested and detained these children for 3 months without trial. They can't deliver good governance. They won't also tolerate dissent when Nigerians want to hold them to account. What else do they expect from Nigerians? They want Nigerians to be just yes men. Robots who will swallow everything hook, line and sinker without argument. They are not only to blame though, Nigerians share in the blame until Nigerians wake up and start holding them to account and start revolting against these colonialists. Nigeria will never change. Thanks for watching.